Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at news from our city, news from our state, news from our country. We take a look at everything that we have to share among ourselves, ideas, tips, questions, suggestions, new shops, new restaurants, so that we can combine all this information and have an awesome live here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is September 8th, and I wish somebody had told me that cholesterol medication makes you sleepy. I didn't even have a chance to fix myself some coffee this morning, but here we are. We're ready to go, and we're ready to share all the news that we have put together for you. We have earthquake news, excuse me. We have vaccine news. We have hurricane news. We have good news. We have a little bit of everything today. So we are going to, and Facebook has changed some things from one place to another. So I'm still finding some settings that I cannot find to produce this broadcast, but that shouldn't concern you. What we're going to do is we are going to dive into our news as usual. But first, let me please tell you that if this is the first time that you're joining us, we would love to hear from you if this is your first time. So, let's see, if you have something important that you wish to share with everyone and you wish for me to address during the broadcast, please add the letter Q to your question or comment at the beginning of the question or comment. And if you are new, let us know. We'd love to hear the fact that you are new, and you can let us know by writing the word new in your comment. And that's all the housekeeping we have for now. So we might as well get started with our news. Okay, well, we start with the big earthquake, a powerful earthquake, powerful 7.1 magnitude earthquake shook Mexico's Pacific coast yesterday around 8:49 p.m., this time with an epicenter near the city of Acapulco. The earthquake eerily happened on the same date as the massive earthquake felt in Oaxaca 4 years ago. It was not only felt in Acapulco, it made it all the way to Mexico City, where I'm happy to read my sister's comment because that means that she's doing fine. It was also felt in our state and many places in between. So far, only one death has been reported in Acapulco, and damages are being presently assessed as there have been some after, well, you know what happens, the aftershocks. Thank you very much, translating machine. There's been some aftershocks, but things are moving right along. We hope everything will turn out okay and that the damages are minor. Woof, sailing without coffee. Thank you very much, Maggie, for trying to send me some virtual coffee. But that's okay. We'll be fine. I want to talk about vaccines also. Vaccination campaigns continue throughout the state of Jalisco. The latest campaign to be announced is taking place this week for folks 18 to 29 that began their protocol with the Sinovac vaccine and are in need of their second shot until September 10th. So between now and 2 days from now, you can go to the municipalities of Talpa de Allende, Mascota, San Sebastián del Oeste, Cabo Corrientes, and Tomatlan. Did I just say you can go? Yes, I did say you can go, meaning that authorities have announced that Puerto Vallarta residents that match the criteria, that is, being between 18 and 29 and needing the second Sinovac vaccine, can also travel to these municipalities if possible and get their vaccine there. There are 2 additional days, other than today, available for this. Of course, this brings up a lingering question that has to do with the second AstraZeneca shot for folks in their 30s here in Puerto Vallarta. Unfortunately, there is still no confirmed date for that vaccination campaign, but it should be coming sometime during this month. Moving on with some more virus-related news. Now that the state of Nayarit has shifted back to yellow in the national COVID-19 stoplight indicator, starting today, bars and other nightlife venues in Nayarit can resume operations with a 50% capacity and opening only until 10 p.m. So much for late night happy hour. I think if you have to get your cocktails in Nayarit, you might as well get them at home or get them early if you want to go out. Yesterday, we touched base briefly on the different COVID-19 variants present in our state. And today, we learned that the Delta, Alpha, and Gamma variants are present in Puerto Vallarta, and these are mutations of concern. This article also shows a general breakdown of which variants are present in other municipalities throughout the state. If you are interested in reading about this, for me personally, what I need to know, I already know, regardless of the variants. What I need to do to take care of myself remains the same, and we know what it is. It is to follow all the guidelines that we already know. And now for some good news. We learned that the Quale market did not suffer major structural damages. This is excellent news. As such, it will not be necessary to tear the 42-year-old structure down. That said, it will not reopen immediately, as some work needs to be done to bring it back to a safe environment to use. In the meantime, some of the shop owners are temporarily being moved over to both Parque Hidalgo at the other end of the Malecón and also Puerto Mágico at the Maritime Terminal. We also have some hurricane-related news. In hurricane news, we have a great report. This is also good news. We have a report that communities in the southern half of the bay, including Corrales, Chimo, Pisota, Quimixto, and Las Animas, have begun to receive aid by way of food and other consumables that were delivered by boat. This support will benefit over 950 people that were affected by Hurricane Nora last week, and we know that these small towns can pretty much only be accessible by boat, so this is absolutely great news to learn. And of course, we have more good news. Zapal continues to go at it, restoring water to parts of the city, although some folks in Pitillal, which is a little higher in altitude, continue to have no water supply. The main pipe that broke was finally repaired yesterday, and water supply should continue to normalize throughout the city today. And of course, if Zapal has announcements to make, we usually read about them on Facebook. Today, we didn't have a chance to check for any announcements, but if we see anything important that is announced by Zapal, we will add it to the wall in our Facebook page. And more good news. A Mexico Supreme Court decriminalized abortion in Mexico. This does not necessarily mean that it was made legal, but it is no longer a crime in some of the states where it remained a criminal act. For those interested in this landmark step, I will leave you with an article in English from the Huffington Post in the show notes. And, of course, now it's time to turn over to our snarky weather. Let us see what kind of weather we can expect here in Puerto Vallarta for the remainder of the week. Oh Oh my goodness. Snarky Carrot Weather says the sky is overcast because you do not deserve nice things. Well, fine, be that way. I don't care. What I care about is that it is 27 degrees right now. Humidity is not as high, 89%, not as high, but it's better than higher. It feels like 30 degrees right now, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 80. Our forecast for today, humid and overcast throughout the day with a high temperature of 33, low temperature of 25. Tomorrow, Thursday, humid and overcast with a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 25. And Friday, humid and partly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 33 and a low temperature of 23. Not bad, not bad at all. The tropical storm that we mentioned yesterday, I believe, has a name now. It's called Olaf. And if we don't have headlines about Olaf, it must be because Olaf is heading elsewhere, which is good to know. So we will continue to have these rain showers that we've been enjoying, and hopefully it will not amount to much more than that. Moving right along, I have some other headlines and leisurely stuff. Well, not leisurely, folks. Taking the public bus into town will continue to have to work part of the trip as buses from points north will continue to make their final stop at Parque Hidalgo on the other end of the Malecon. This was announced by Luis Romero Chavez, president of the Unibus PV bus company. We don't have a date in which in which the bus service will be restored to the downtown area of Puerto Vallarta. And I appreciate the fact that some people don't enjoy walking as much. For me, we got to walk. We got to burn all this COVID that has accumulated in my cheeks and in my tummy. Let's see what else we have. As expected, the number of airline passengers arriving in Puerto Vallarta decreases this time of year, and this was confirmed by Grupo Aeroportuario del Pacífico. This is the company that manages our airport, and it manages a total of 12 airports in the region, and all of the airports managed by the company have registered a decrease in passengers of 1.9%. In August, last month, Puerto Vallarta welcomed 353,900 passengers, and that is 2% more than in 2019, obviously a lot more than last year. But the numbers will continue to decrease during this final stretch of summer, and hopefully they will return as they have in years past during the fall. And my final headline for you before we head over to chit chat mode has to do with cruises. The third arrival of the weekly Carnival Panorama cruise took place yesterday with over 2,549 tourists and 1,457 crew, bringing some much needed economic relief to our city. As we mentioned yesterday, other cruise lines have already announced that they will begin arriving in town in the coming weeks. So overall, we have all kinds of wonderful news to be happy about. At least I'm happy about them. And now let me very quickly turn over to your comments just to see if I see any cues or any important thing that you wish to mention today. As always, it's great to see your good mornings. Very much appreciated from places near and far. David is saying hello all the way from Larkspur, California. Sherry is always with us all the way from the Lake of the Ozarks. Great to see you. And Brad and Monica have settled in Versailles, and we know that they were scheduled to come into town, and they are here now. So is Claude and Lucas. They're back from Canada, so I'm glad to see that some of my gang is in town. Oh, I think we have a new word. Procrastinating. That's when you're making progress, but also sort of procrastinating here at work by tuning into some Paco Ojeda Coffee and Headlines. Thank you very much, Logan. I'm very familiar with procrastinating. For me, it manifests as taking little breaks when I really don't need them. Javier reports that his wife felt the earthquake. I was lying in bed, I believe, so I did not really feel it this time, and Luna didn't look startled, as she usually does when the earth moves. So I'm very happy that we didn't feel any of it, and hopefully things will get back to normal in places that were more severely affected. Let's see. No, Mr. Fancy Barbara, it's just the first shirt that I could find. But thank you very much for the compliments. Um, let's see. Michal is love. I love that. I love that. Let's see what else we have. Did my photo shoot cause tremor in Colonia La Vena? Says Gary. Yes, yesterday, um, some friends that needed to take photos without their clothes on for their performance came over and took photos with clothes off for their performance. Sexy men, and yes, that happened yesterday afternoon, and everything seems to indicate that I will have some more sexy dancers today here at the studio. We will. We will see how that goes. Um, Angela would like to take a look at some of the photos that I took yesterday, and unfortunately, I can't because they were not photos taken for pleasure. Photos were taken for a client, and it is up to that client's discretion as to when the photos are made public. But but I'm always happy to collaborate with my friends that need photography. Let's see what else we have here. I don't see any cues. Do 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 do. Uh, okay. I am still hearing horror stories of COVID wreaking havoc here in Bucerias slash La Cruz. This comes from Jim Dolan. Uh, I only hope for your own well being, Jim, that whatever stories you are hearing or investing time in exploring are coming from reputable sources. I don't know that there is uh, havoc in Buceria Sola Cruz, and I don't know that there isn't. All I know is that, at least for me personally, when I take in news from reputable sources, they have less of a negative effect in my well being than when I take news from hearsay or other places. So um, I'm just wishing for your well being, friend. If you are hearing horrible stories, I just come there. I just hope that they come from places that can be trusted. And that goes for any kind of news that we hear from here, there, or everywhere. Let's see what else we have. Yay, koala vendors. Absolutely. I'm so very happy that that market can be fixed. And I hope that they fix it prettily. Prettily. There you go. That's a new word. Barbara says, sent you a direct message and friend request. I will be so very happy to take a look at your message. Respectfully, Barbara, I will not accept your friend request because I have not had the pleasure of knowing you yet. Please don't take that personally. We keep our personal life business separate from the coffee and headline business, but I am always happy to welcome your direct messages. Thank you very much for that. Let's see what else we have. Do 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 do. Oh yes, they do. Oh yes, they do, Doug. And I have a way to go. I have a way to go, but I'm determined to follow that path because cholesterol medication is fucking expensive. um, Oh, thank you very much for this reminder, Alain. This is a shout out for Dionisio friends who are presenting El Destripadero Verás in Guadalajara as part of La Met tonight. Let me translate that into out of in context English. La Met is, or MET is it's the same as the Met, the opera. MET stands for Muestra Estatal de Teatro, which is the state theater showcase. And this is an event that is organized in Guadalajara every year, in which award-winning plays from all the municipality theater companies throughout the state are invited to showcase winning plays in the city of Guadalajara. And of course, one of the plays produced by the local theater company Grupo de Teatro Dionisio, called El Destripadero Verás, is being presented in Guadalajara tonight in Mexico City, and this is a major. It's one of those things that if there were Spanish pills that we could distribute among the English speaking population, and they were very precious and hard to get to, I really wish there were such pills for all of us here at Coffee and Headlines to be able to go and enjoy the work of this theater company that we have in Puerto Vallarta, because they are extraordinary non-professional actors with full-time jobs, most of them, and still they make enough time to rehearse, to better their craft by attending many workshops, and present award-winning plays, and they charge for the privilege, and that's a good thing. No shade on community theater where nobody gets paid for anything, or most people don't get paid for anything, but imagine structuring your local theater company such that you're a full-time worker, still have time to go rehearse, still have time to produce kick-ass plays, and you are so good that you can charge for the benefit and your performances get sold out. I am talking, of course, of Grupo de Teatro Dionisio. So happy that theater in Spanish is alive and very well in our city. So hopeful that theater in English can get some cues from what's going on in Spanish. This question doesn't have a cue, but it is a good question. Do any of the airports managed by this agency have chairs to sit in at the arrival area? Tony, that is a great question. Unfortunately, I would have to be the airport, or I would have to have flown recently to answer your question. The answer from me is I don't know. I do know that in the arrival area in the airport here, there's a couple of restaurants where sometimes you can get away with sitting down, but unfortunately, that is more the exception than the rule. If anybody else here has anything to comment, it would be appreciated. Let's see. Terry has just confirmed that there are no chairs in the reception area in town. There's a cue from Patricia Roberts. Did you comment on the next storm that we are receiving? Yes, I did, and we are not. That is, we're not getting a hurricane. We're probably going to continue to get some rain. La 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 da di da di da da. Let's see what else. Question. I know baseball is big here in Mexico, and we have a nice crew ball field here in Bucerias. Are there games happening this time of year, or how do you know when big games are being played? Not being a baseball fan, Jim, I have no answer for you, but it is something that what I would do is I would either look on Facebook. I would look on Facebook to find out if I would write the word baseball on Facebook just to see if there are news of certain teams. I have friends, for example, that play in the soccer games in town, and the information is difficult to come by. Of course, the only reason why I would want to go watch a soccer game is to look at the legs, and I have no qualms in saying that. And even when I want to do that, I have to check in with my friends and remind them that more information needs to be forthcoming. So, Jim, I hope you can find the information that you're looking for, and good luck with that. Let's see what else we have. Well, I think we're done. I don't see any more cues. So this was good. This was a great broadcast. Oh, I see another cue. Thank you very much. I have seen information on the next round of COVID vaccinations. It's difficult for me to understand as it is in Spanish, any upcoming in PV? We already answered that question, Patricia. There is nothing that has been announced for Puerto Vallarta. But if you watched the show earlier on, you will know that there are some choices for folks between 18 and 29 going on in nearby municipalities. And I think this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Thank you very much for joining us on this hump day. We will be back tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day. Oh, and Friday, of course, we are going to look at my own neighborhood. We're going to look at La Vena. So I am going to tell you a little bit more about my little neighborhood, which is in the middle of everything. So I love living here. So between now and then, stay happy, stay kind, stay helpful, stay caffeinated. That's the first thing I'm going to do when we get done here. And of course, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, and stay in touch. Have a great day.